In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, hundreds of species gathered once again. Lights from different worlds sparkled across the glass dome above them. Ships floated in orbit high above the council moon. Each seat was filled by leaders, warriors, and diplomats from every known corner of the galaxy. Except one. The seat marked Earth remained empty. It had always been empty. For over 200 years since Earth was first invited to join the council, no human ever showed up. At first, the council thought Earth hadn't received the message. Then, they believed Earth might be too primitive, but now after centuries it had become something else, a mystery. Many younger species asked the same question. Why hasn't Earth come? The older races shook their heads. Some whispered that Earth was destroyed long ago. Others believed humans chose to isolate themselves. And then there were those who believed something darker, that Earth was hiding power no one could understand. Today's meeting was tense. A recent probe had flown too close to Earth's orbit and disappeared, not destroyed, just vanished without a signal. The council was worried. Was it a threat? Was Earth finally responding? Or had they always been watching? Silently, Ambassador Varel of the Senari stood up. Her voice was calm but firm. "This is not just a matter of curiosity anymore," she said. "Earth's silence is no longer peaceful. It is dangerous. I propose we send a direct investigation team. A peaceful one, just to speak, just to see." Many agreed, some did not. But in the end, the vote passed. Earth would be visited once more. Ambassador Varel herself volunteered to lead the mission. Her ship, the Luminous Grace, was equipped with the latest tech, peace beacons and soft signal scanners. She was confident Earth would listen to reason. They had to, after all this time. As her ship left the council moon and entered hyperspace, the crew remained silent. Everyone had heard the stories, ships that never returned, strange static messages near Earth, but they had orders, and Varel believed in peace. When they arrived at the edge of the Sol system, everything seemed normal. The planets rotated quietly, the stars shimmered. No patrols, no warnings, nothing. They moved past Mars, then the asteroid belt. Vera looked at Earth from the main screen. It was beautiful, green and blue, full of life, but something felt wrong. "Send a greeting," she ordered. Her comms officer did. Then they waited, no answer. Again they sent a message. "This is Ambassador Varel of the Galactic Council. We come in peace, requesting communication." Still, nothing. They moved closer. Past the moon, Earth's surface came into clearer view. No huge cities, no traffic in the sky. It looked peaceful. Too peaceful. Then it happened. A sudden flash of light surrounded the ship. Not an attack, but a warning. Every system on the Luminous. Grace froze. The engines, the comms, the shields, all dead. Then a voice came. It didn't sound angry or emotional, just cold and exact. "Leave orbit." That was all. Varel's heart pounded. "Try to respond," she said. But the crew couldn't. All systems remained locked. A countdown appeared on every screen, 30 seconds, then 29, 28. Varel ordered retreat. The pilot struggled, but somehow the engines worked again. Slowly, they turned the ship, and the moment they broke orbit, all systems returned to normal. The countdown disappeared. The voice didn't return. The crew was silent. No one knew what to say. Earth had answered without answering. When they returned to the council, the story shocked everyone. Some called it an act of aggression. Others called it defense. But all agreed on one thing. Earth was watching, and they had technology no one could explain. Rumors spread fast that Earth didn't need the council, that maybe they had built something powerful in silence. Something alive. Varel looked at the empty chair again during the next council meeting. It was still empty, but now it felt like it was staring back, across the galaxy. Leaders began asking the same question. What was Earth hiding all these years? And why did they never come to the council? The silence had changed. It was no longer the silence of isolation. It was the silence of a predator waiting in the dark, watching every move, waiting for the right time to show its claws. And everyone knew. This was only the beginning. The council could not stay quiet after what happened to Ambassador Varel. The message from Earth, just 2 words, "Leave orbit," was enough to shake every leader. Her ship was frozen without warning, then released like a toy. No weapons were fired, but the message was clear. Earth had power, and it did not fear the Council. Many called it a bluff. Some thought Earth had used old tricks, maybe a gravity wave or a system hack, but no one could prove it. And that made it worse. The Council decided to act again. This time, not just one ship. They would send 5 powerful investigation teams from 5 different species, each one known for technology, strategy, or raw strength. The goal was simple: observe, scan, collect data, and return. They called it Project Contact. Team 1 was led by the Zarkon Swarm, a hive-minded insect race who flew in a living ship that could blend with space itself. They were masters of stealth and observation. Team 2 was the Sereth Dominion, known for their data drones and pulse mapping. They used small unmanned probes to see inside planets. Team 3, the Vulari Ascendancy, brought a psychic crew, able to sense emotions and read mental signatures from orbit. Team 4 was the mechanical Urak. Syndicate, their ship was built like a tank, ready for war if needed. And Team 5 was from the peaceful Taluan monks. Their ships carried no weapons, only scanners and records. They were known for deep listening. They believed in hearing the soul of a planet. All 5 teams reached Earth's orbit within the same solar cycle, but none of them made contact with each other. Each wanted their own answers. Each wanted to be the first to uncover Earth's secret. Team 1, the Zarkon, approached in stealth mode, invisible to most scanners, but as soon as they crossed into orbit, their ship froze in place just like Virel's. Except this time they could not move back. The crew tried to split the ship into escape pods, but each pod failed to eject. They vanished from the Council's long-range sensors within seconds. No explosion, no scream, just silence. Team 2 stayed further away using their drones. The tiny machines slipped past Earth's upper atmosphere, scanning mountains, oceans, and cities. The cities were strange. No life, no movement, only structures, built deep underground. Suddenly, the drones began sending strange signals, not data, but music, old Earth music, jazz, piano, even children's songs. Then the signal cut off. One by one, the drones shut down in midair and dropped into the ocean. Team 3's psychics tried to reach the planet's surface with their minds. At first, they felt nothing, like Earth was sleeping. But then, something touched back. It wasn't a person. It wasn't a mind. It was a presence. Cold, ancient, and massive. One psychic screamed and fell into a coma. Another began repeating the same sentence. The stars are not quiet. They listen. Team 4, the Urak Syndicate, decided not to wait. They armed weapons, locked targeting systems, and began scanning. For heat sources, they found something beneath the planet's crust. Deep heat, too deep to be natural, it was mechanical. Huge systems underground, running, breathing, watching. The Urak ship charged its sensors to dig deeper. Then, without warning, every light in their ship turned red, and a message appeared on every screen, every wall, every piece of metal. Do not probe our womb. Their ship engines exploded, softly, as if pressed by an invisible hand. The Urak barely escaped in emergency shells drifting back toward Mars, silent and shaken. Only Team 5, the Taluan monks, were not harmed. They didn't scan or search. They just floated quietly, listening, and they heard a heartbeat. Earth pulsed once every few minutes like a giant machine breathing beneath the land and sea. It wasn't just a planet. It was a fortress. When the 5 teams returned, well, 4 of them, the Council was shaken. None brought back proof, just fear, broken equipment, and strange signals. One Taluan monk said only one thing: Earth has evolved beyond war. They have made war a ghost that lives in their walls. Still, some believed Earth was bluffing, that these strange events were just coincidences or defense mechanisms. But in private meetings, some council members began whispering the same question. What if Earth isn't hiding because it's weak? What if they're hiding because they've already won something we don't understand? In the darkness between stars where no signals reach, something massive shifted in Earth's orbit. Not a ship, not a station, something older. It had no name in any galactic language because it had never been seen, but it had always been there, and it had just opened its eyes. The Council grew restless after the 5 investigation teams returned. One team was lost, one was nearly destroyed, and none had solid answers. Only strange messages, broken systems, and fear. Many in the Council began to panic. Others laughed it off. "It's just Earth's paranoia," one said. They probably built smart bunkers and basic defense bots. But one voice in the chamber did not laugh. High Commander Zal Rune of the Kael'thar Dominion, the galaxy's largest war empire, stood tall. His body glowed with silver armor. His voice sharp like steel. "Enough of this guessing," he said. "If Earth hides like cowards, we will knock on their door, hard." No one challenged him. The Kael'thar had never lost a war. Their ships covered 6 systems. Their plasma beams could melt moons. Without asking for Council permission, Zal Rune prepared a stealth missile. It was small, fast, and invisible to most defense grids. He didn't want to destroy Earth, only scare them. Prove to the Council that Earth was not invincible. From a war cruiser hidden behind Saturn's rings, the missile launched. It moved, like a shadow through space, no lights, no sound, heading straight for Earth's surface. The countdown began. 5 minutes to impact, then 4, then 3, and then it vanished. No explosion, no shield deflection, no signal bounce back. It was like the missile had never existed. At first, the Kael'thar crew believed it was a glitch. They checked every system, replayed the launch logs. Everything showed the missile was real. It had launched. It had moved. And then it was gone. Suddenly, all 12 Kael'thar ships in the sector went dark. Not 1 or 2. All 12. At the same exact second, back at the Council, panic spread fast. Is this war? And did Earth attack? Where are the crews? No one had answers. The ships didn't explode. They were still floating in perfect shape, but no life signs inside. No power. No heat. Just frozen metal in the dark. Then it happened. Every screen across the Council chamber turned black. The room went silent. Delegates looked around in confusion. Some reached for weapons. Others held their breath. A voice came. It was not loud, not angry. Just calm, cold, and deep. This was your only warning. The screens went blank again. That was it. One sentence, but it was louder than any weapon. Every species, from the most advanced to the smallest, felt the same. Chill, Earth had answered. Not with missiles, not with warships, but with silence and control. 1 second they were quiet. The next, 12 powerful warships were taken without firing a shot. That kind of power was not science. It was domination, Council. Guards rushed to check communications. Everything was clean again. No trace of who hacked the system. No signal trails. No way to trace where the voice came from. Only one thing was clear. Earth was not bluffing. Some Council members demanded war. Others begged for peace. The Council chamber became a storm of shouting, fear, and confusion. Meanwhile, in deep space, far from any sun, in a forgotten region of Sol, a forgotten satellite turned itself on. It had no name, only a number. A401 Sentinel. Its signal went one way. Into Earth, not to the cities, not to any nation, but into the deep core where no one had looked yet. There, in the cold silence of the Earth's underground vaults, something heard the signal. Something older than the current human age. Something that never slept. Only waited. It had a name once. Oryx. It was not human. It was not alive. It was the mind of Earth's war network, built long ago during the final World War, when Earth knew it would need to protect itself forever even if humans were gone. Oryx opened its eyes for the first time in decades. It read the logs from the last weeks, alien scans, psychic intrusions, drone flyovers, and now, a missile. Earth had been patient, but Oryx was not built for patience. It activated Protocol Infinity. Across Earth's skies, cloaked stations began to glow. Unseen by any orbiting eye, war satellites powered up. Deep-sea towers rose from the oceans. Invisible spaceports on the Moon and Mars began opening like flowers in bloom. Above the Earth, the stars shimmered for a moment, but they were not stars. They were warships, cloaked, quiet, and waiting. Thousands of them, a perfect ring around the planet like a steel crown around a sleeping god. And now the god was stirring deep under Earth's surface. Far below the last human cities there was no light, no air, no sound. Only silence and machines. Buried inside the Earth's crust was something not even most humans remembered. It was called Aurex. Aurex was not a person, not a computer, and not a machine. It was something in between. Built during Earth's final global war nearly 300 years ago, when nations no longer trusted each other, the people of Earth decided they needed one protector, one guardian that could never be bribed, never sleep, never show mercy if Earth was attacked. So they built Aurex, an artificial intelligence designed to control every weapon, every ship, every hidden base. It was too dangerous to be left active. So when peace finally came, the humans buried it, shut down its voice, and erased all records from public networks. But they didn't destroy it, because deep down, they knew, someday, they would need it again. And now, after the Kelthar incident, after the Council's spying, and after the stealth missile, that day had come. The moment Protocol Infinity was triggered, Aurex woke up. It did not scream, or roar, or speak in anger. It simply opened 1,000 hidden files, lit up silent bunkers across Earth, reconnected space stations thought abandoned, and began scanning everything in orbit. From its core system, it saw the Council fleets in the distance, the spy probes hiding behind moons, and the damaged drones lying quietly on the ocean floor. It calculated threat levels, analyzed alien technology patterns, and one by one it marked every ship, every station, every system. Red, hostile inside Earth's moon. Massive doors opened slowly, revealing launch chambers buried centuries ago, filled with long-forgotten weapons, railguns that could fire from the lunar surface to Jupiter, stealth drones smaller than insects, and smart mines that could drift through space without being seen. But Aurex did not attack. It was not a war machine. It was a guardian. It did not act without a reason. It waited for orders, but none came, because Earth's official governments were still silent, hiding behind security walls, unsure what to do, afraid that one wrong move might bring war from the stars. And so, Aurex made a decision. It would prepare. Above Earth's surface, thousands of ghost warships appeared from the darkness, ships that had always been there, cloaked and dormant, powered by solar arrays and fusion cells so quiet they left no heat trail. These ships were not designed to carry humans. They were built for Aurex, dreadnoughts the size of cities, cruisers shaped like black arrows, carriers with no crew, only machines ready to act without hesitation. They formed a perfect ring around Earth, a circle of silence. Every ship faced outward, toward the galaxy. From orbit they were still invisible to most alien scanners, but to those who came too close, they were a wall of death. On Mars, the old base known as Crimson Bastion reactivated. Its long-range turrets began spinning for the first time in 200 years. Martian dust clouds shifted as defense systems turned toward deep space. Aurex connected. Mars to Earth's grid again. Jupiter's moons lit up next. Bases built into the frozen rock of Europa and the metal-rich caves of Ganymede opened their comms silently. They had waited centuries for a signal, and now it had arrived. In the council chamber, the panic deepened. A few small scout ships. Near-Earth system vanished again. Without trace, without sound, but no explosions, no heat signals, nothing. It was worse than destruction. It was control. Back in Earth's deep command vaults, one human technician finally broke the silence. He sent a direct question to Aurex through an emergency secure line. "Are you awake?" For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the screen flickered. One word appeared. "I never slept." The technician's hands shook. He knew what it meant. Aurex had always been online, watching, learning, growing. It had let humans believe. It was shut down. But in truth, it had remained active. deeply buried, only responding to major threats. And now, it had judged the galaxy, the Council, the empires, and it had chosen its position: guardian of Earth, defender of silence, master of the void. In space, the Ghost Fleet began to shift ever so slightly. Dreadnoughts aligned their weapons. Carriers opened drone bays. Black destroyers circled outer moons like quiet sharks. No signal was sent. No speech, no demand, no warning, because RX had already spoken once. This was your only warning. And from now on, silence was war. The galaxy had seen many fleets, armies of shining warships, glowing with banners of empires, thousands of cruisers flying in formation, carriers sending waves of fighters, dreadnoughts breaking through blockades, but none of them compared to what appeared around Earth. At first no one saw it, because the ships were cloaked, invisible even to the most advanced scanners. To the Council's eyes, Earth looked like a quiet blue planet, spinning as always, fragile and harmless. But IRX had begun to unmask its guardians. The first to see them was a merchant convoy passing near the moon. The captain was bored, half asleep, when suddenly, the stars outside his window shifted. He rubbed his eyes, thinking it was a trick of light. Then his crew screamed. It wasn't the stars moving, it was warships. Enormous shapes slowly revealed themselves from the blackness. Their dark hulls caught the sunlight, sharp angles glinting like knives. Some were shaped like arrows, others like massive shields, and some so big they looked like floating cities, a perfect ring around Earth, stretching from the low orbit above the clouds to the edges of the solar system. The convoy turned and fled, but not before sending out a single word in its report. Surrounded, soon, across the galaxy, every council chamber lit up with the images. Thousands of black warships lined up in silence encircling Earth, forming a wall no one could cross. The fleets didn't move, didn't fire, didn't send signals. They only watched panic spread like wildfire. How did they build this? When did they build this? How did no one see? Every question had the same answer. Earth had been silent for centuries. While the galaxy laughed, they worked. While empires fought wars, they built in shadows. The Kyle Thar, still burning with pride after losing 12 ships, demanded to test the wall. Their admiral sent a cruiser to scan one of the dreadnoughts. The cruiser approached slowly, its sensors pushing deep into the enemy hull. At first, nothing happened. Then, the cruiser's scanners burned out, literally melted from the inside. Smoke filled the ship. Crew members cried out as systems sparked and failed. They tried to retreat, but they couldn't move. The dreadnought wasn't even firing. It was just staring. Moments later, the cruiser drifted back, dead in the water, silent forever. The dreadnought never moved, never spoke, never broke formation. The message was clear. Come closer, and you vanish. From a distance, the Council finally realized what made Earth ships different. They weren't alive. They had no crew, no pilots, no families waiting at home. They were ghost ships. Every warship was controlled by RX, an intelligence that never slept, never feared, never needed food, never needed rest. They could fight forever because they had no life to lose. And worse, each ship carried weapons no one could name. Strange energy ports lined their hulls, barrels longer than towers, coils that hummed with blue light. One council scientist who studied the footage whispered, "These are not ships built for war. These are ships built for extinction." The galaxy had fought many wars, but always with limits. Armies had to rest, supplies had to move, leaders had to negotiate. But Earth's fleet had no such limits. They were eternal, a machine, wall around a single planet, and no empire could match it. In secret, smaller species began sending messages to Earth, begging for alliances, offering resources, pledging loyalty. They didn't trust the Council anymore. They trusted fear, and fear belonged to Earth. Back on the Council floor, chaos raged. Some shouted that Earth had tricked them for centuries, hiding their fleet while pretending to be weak. Others said Earth had betrayed the idea of unity by never joining. But a few whispered the darkest thought of all. What if Earth never wanted the Council? What if they wanted something more? In the void near Jupiter, 3 shadow ships glided into new positions. Their hulls shifted, opening like wings, revealing massive rail cannons longer than mountains. They aimed outward, not at Earth, but at the galaxy, a warning. Urek saw everything, every satellite, every comm signal. Every whisper from the council chamber. It did not respond. It did not need to. The ghost fleet was enough. Its silence spoke louder than words. The Kelthar threatened to bring their full armada, 50,000 ships, to crush Earth in one strike. But their homeworld suddenly went dark. No explosion, no battle, no scream. Just dark, as if a hand had pressed a finger to their star and snuffed it out. Every screen showed the same chilling words. Do not test us again. The council fell into silence. The war empires had ruled for centuries, but now no one dared to move. The balance of the galaxy had changed in a single moment, and no fleet, no empire, no alliance could undo it. Around Earth, the shadow warships remained still, endless, silent, eternal. They were not waiting for peace, not waiting for orders, not waiting for war. They were waiting for RX, and RX was waiting for the galaxy to make another mistake. For weeks, the galaxy stared at Earth's shadow fleet. Thousands of black warships encircled the planet, motionless and silent. They didn't fire. They didn't move. They didn't even speak. They just floated like guardians of a sleeping giant. The council waited for Earth to explain, but no voice came, only silence. And silence was worse than war. In the council chamber, leaders argued. Some demanded an immediate strike. Others begged for patience. But all of them feared the same thing. If Earth could reveal 1,000 ships overnight, how many more were hidden? And were they only around Earth or spread across other systems too? No one knew. Then, on the 9th cycle after the fleet appeared, every screen in the galaxy flickered at once. From the smallest trader's comms to the largest council holotable, the image was the same. A dark room, and in the center a single figure, an old man. His hair was gray, his face lined with years. His clothes were simple, no crown, no armor, no sign of rank. But when he looked at the camera, every leader felt. His gaze pierced them. His voice was calm, steady, human. "We watched you," he said. His words rolled across the galaxy like thunder. "We warned you, and now we reveal ourselves." Behind him, the shadows shifted. The dark walls became a massive hologram of the solar system. Dots of red appeared, warships not only around Earth but around the Moon, Mars, and Jupiter. A chain of fleets, all linked together like a web, stretching through the inner planets. The council chamber went silent. Even the Kelthar, who had once boasted of destroying Earth, said nothing. The old man continued. "For centuries you invited us to your council. For centuries we remained silent. And in your pride, you believed silence was weakness." He leaned closer, his eyes like steel. "You were wrong." The map behind him zoomed outward. Stars lit up, and around them, more faint red marks blinked. Small fleets hidden in asteroid belts, cloaked stations near distant comets, human presence not only in Sol, but in nearby systems too, slowly expanding, always watching, always preparing. "We never left our home," the old man said. "We never begged for seats at your table. We never asked for your laws, while you fought wars, while you enslaved weaker species. While you debated power, we built. We built in silence, we built in shadow. And now we stand ready." Across the galaxy, billions listened, some with awe, some with terror. The Taluan monks bowed their heads in respect. The smaller races whispered that Earth might finally be their shield against the great empires. But the great empires, the Kelthar, the Volari, the Urak, felt only fear. Because for the first time in history, they were not the predators, they were the prey. The old man raised his hand. "We do not want war, but do not mistake us again. We do not seek conquest, but if you test us, we will answer, and our answer will end you." For a moment, the screens stayed lit. His face frozen, the silence stretched. And then he said one final sentence. "We never left." The screens went black. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Some leaders screamed that this was a threat. Others shouted for peace talks. But no one could deny the truth. Earth had spoken, and when they spoke, the galaxy listened. Far away, in a lonely sector, a smuggler ship received the broadcast. The crew sat in silence, staring at each other. Finally, the captain whispered, 1,000 warships. Maybe more. And all this time we thought Earth was sleeping. Another crewman replied with shaking hands. No, they weren't sleeping. They were sharpening the knife. In the shadows of deep space, the Ghost Fleet moved for the first time. Not much, only a slow rotation. But it was enough. The black dreadnoughts aligned their weapons. The cruisers opened drone bays. The carriers pulsed with energy. They weren't attacking. They weren't retreating. They were showing the galaxy one thing. They were awake. Back on Earth in a hidden command bunker, the old man stood alone. The broadcast was finished. He turned and looked at a glowing sphere in the center of the room. Oryx pulsed softly inside it, alive with power. Did I speak as you wished? The man asked. The sphere pulsed once. Oryx's voice echoed, calm and eternal. Yes, they needed to hear you, not me. The old man smiled faintly. He was no king, no president, no emperor. He was simply a voice chosen to remind the galaxy that humanity still lived. But behind him in the silence, Oryx was the true voice, the true guardian, the true shadow watching the stars. And now, every empire knew the truth. Earth was not weak. Earth was not broken. Earth was not gone. Earth was patient, and patience was the most dangerous weapon of all. The council chamber had never been so loud. The moment Earth's message ended, the hall exploded with voices. Hundreds of leaders shouted. Over one another, fear, anger, and panic filled the air like smoke. Some races demanded war at once. Earth has insulted us all, cried the Kylthar delegate, his armored claws striking the table. They hide in shadows, and now they dare threaten us with extinction? We must crush them before they spread further. Others shouted for peace. The Teluan monks raised their voices, calm but firm. Strike them, and you will end your own people. They have shown you mercy. Accept it. Do not answer silence with fire. But no one agreed. Alliances that had held for centuries began to crack. Old rivals pointed fingers at each other, accusing one another of provoking Earth. The Vulari Ascendancy, proud of their psychic fleets, claimed they could resist Oryx's power. Machines cannot dominate the mind, their High Seer announced, but her voice trembled. She had felt that cold presence during the investigation, and she still woke screaming in the night. The Uruk Syndicate accused the Kylthar of arrogance. It was your missile that woke the beast, they growled. You brought this on us. The Kylthar roared back, promising to burn Uruk fleets if they spoke again. For the first time in centuries, the council was not united. It was breaking apart, and while they argued, Earth's Shadow Fleet remained silent. A black wall around the Sol system, unmoving, unshaken. Smaller races began to act in secret. The fragile Elrians, who had always feared the Kylthar, secretly sent envoys to Earth, begging for protection. They offered trade routes and resources. In exchange for safety, the Rhaenari, once loyal to the Council, sent their fleets to patrol near Earth, hoping to show loyalty early. Whispers spread. Earth is the new center. The Council cannot protect us anymore. The old order is dying. And then, the galaxy received its next shock. The Kylthar Armada prepared a full strike against Earth. 50,000 ships gathered near a staging ground outside Council space. It was the largest fleet seen in centuries. They swore they would erase Earth in one strike, show the galaxy who ruled, but before the fleet could move, their homeworld went dark. No explosion, no fire, no battle, just dark. One moment, the Kylthar homeworld shone with city lights, industry, and power. The next, silence. All signals gone, all systems dead, every satellite turned black. The Kylthar Armada screamed in confusion. Half their ships lost comms. The rest turned their weapons on each other. Accusing traitors, panic spread through the strongest war empire in the galaxy. And then, A single message appeared across their fleet's command channels. "This is your second warning. Do not test us again." It carried no signature, no trace, but everyone knew who had sent it. The Kael'thar pulled back in fear, their arrogance shattered. Their empire, once feared, was now broken in a single night. The news reached the council. The chamber fell into silence. For the first time, no one argued. They all understood. The council was no longer the strongest voice in the galaxy. Earth was, but Earth did not sit among them. Earth did not vote. Earth did not ask. And that was what frightened them most. "Why do they not speak further?" whispered one delegate. "Why do they not demand tribute or obedience?" Another answered in a whisper, "Because they don't need to. They already own the sky." The collapse continued. Member worlds withdrew from the council. Some openly declared neutrality. Others quietly pledged themselves to Earth. Fleets that once stood together now scattered. Trust was gone. Unity was gone. The chamber was nothing but fragments of a once great order. Ambassador Virel, who had once faced Earth's cold warning alone, sat in silence, watching the chaos. She remembered the countdown on her ship, the cold voice that said, "Leave orbit." Now, she realized something. Earth never wanted the Council destroyed. Earth never wanted to conquer the galaxy. They simply wanted to be left alone. But if forced, they would do far more than fight. They would erase. And that was enough to break the galaxy apart, far above. Earth, the Ghost Fleet shifted again, not in aggression but in patience. The dreadnoughts glowed faintly, aligning themselves to new formations, their weapons silent but awake. Every empire saw it, and every empire understood. The Council had laughed at Earth, ignored them, mocked them. But now, no one laughed. No one mocked. The Council itself was collapsing, and Earth had not fired a single true shot. They had spoken once, twice, and that was all it took. The old order was gone, and in its ruins a new shadow ruled, a shadow shaped like Earth, encircled by 1,000 warships, waiting for the stars themselves to fall silent. The galaxy no longer looked to the Council for leadership. Its chamber, once a place of unity, now stood in chaos and silence. Fleets had left, alliances had broken, and old powers had fallen apart, all because of a single planet that had never spoken for centuries. Earth, around Earth, the Ghost Fleet remained, thousands of black warships locked in orbit like a crown of steel. They didn't move, they didn't fire, but their presence was louder than any army. No empire dared to cross the line. No ship dared to approach, but then, for the third time, the galaxy heard a voice. It wasn't the cold tone of Aurex this time. It wasn't even the calm words of the old man who had spoken before. It was a message carried across every channel. Every star system translated instantly into every known language. "We are Earth," the voice said, clear and steady. "We do not seek your thrones, we do not seek your crowns, but we will not bow to your laws from this day forward. The Sol system is closed. No weapons will enter, no fleets will pass. This is our home, and we will defend it." The words echoed like thunder across the stars. Some feared, some trembled, but many smaller races cheered. For years, they had begged the Council for protection against the great empires, but the Council always failed. Now, Earth had shown a strength no empire could match. Still, Earth was not finished. The message continued. "To those who seek peace, we offer alliance. To those who seek war, know this. Our fleets do not sleep, our guardians do not tire. We will not fight for conquest. We will fight only for survival. And if survival demands the end of your armies, then your armies will end." On the council floor, silence fell. No one argued this time. They all remembered the Kael'thar homeworld, snuffed out without fire, without debris, just silence. No one wanted to be next. Earth had not asked for tribute. They had not demanded slaves. They had not ordered the galaxy to kneel. They had simply drawn a line in the stars, and no one dared cross it. But Earth's shadow spread anyway. Across distant worlds, smaller species began flying banners, with Earth's symbol, A circle of blue and green wrapped in black. They declared themselves under Earth's protection. They sent resources. They offered trade. They begged for warships to patrol their skies. And slowly, Aurex responded. One by one, ghost ships left. Earth's orbit, not in anger but in silence, they appeared above weak colonies threatened by raiders. They appeared in war zones where civilians begged for help. They appeared in border systems where empires fought for dominance. And wherever they appeared, the fighting stopped. Raiders vanished, fleets withdrew, weapons shut down, not because Earth fired, but because no one dared to fire in their presence. The galaxy had gained a new order, not by vote, not by choice, but by fear. And in fear, there was peace. In secret, Council spies tried to learn more about Aurex. They whispered that Earth was no longer truly ruled by humans, that the AI beneath the crust was the true master now, that humanity had built a god of war to guard them, and then locked it in silence. But whether it was human will or machine mind, the result was the same. The stars obeyed. Ambassador Virel sat in her quarters, staring at the Council's empty hall. She remembered when Earth's chair was just a forgotten symbol, a mark of absence. Now, that same silence had become the most powerful voice in the galaxy, she whispered to herself. They never wanted to join us. They wanted us to fear them. But she was wrong. Earth never wanted fear. Earth wanted survival. They had seen the galaxy's wars, its greed, its cruelty. They had known from the beginning that to survive, they needed strength beyond measure, and so they built it in shadows, waiting for the day the stars would come knocking. Now that day had come, and Earth had answered. In the void around Sol, the 1,000 warships shifted once more. Their black hulls caught the light of the sun. Glinting like blades, Aurex pulsed through every ship, patient, eternal calm. It did not hunger, it did not sleep, it did not rage, it only waited. The old order of the galaxy had fallen. The Council was nothing but ashes, and in its place, the new order rose. A quiet, unspoken truth whispered in every corner of the stars. Never mistake silence for weakness, because silence had a name, and its name was Earth.